Well, what is up, fellow procrastinators? I'm Flamecom. The other day, I was working on my 500 subs special, which, by the way, yes, I'm still working on it, but I'm a lazy motherfucker, and I procrastinate extensively. So to all you fellow procrastinators out there, I'm the king of procrastination, even when it comes down to my own work. No, especially my own work. Other than that, yes, I've been working on that, and a part of that video was about me using my old camera, and I always thought up to this point that my old camera had been bricked because I tried to use Magic Lantern, and then I tried to restart the camera, but then I prematurely removed the SD card where Magic Lantern comes from. And so then I was trying to demonstrate that in a shoot, but then to my surprise, when I put the battery in and I turn it on, expecting it to not turn on, it turned on just fine, like as if it had been factory reset. So it prompted me to set the time, date, and everything. And I was like, what the fuck? It works? And so I set out to immediately do a video test comparing the Canon 80D and the Canon 600D. I shot some quick sample footages to compare the two of them, just to reaffirm my disappointment with Canon going for 1080p on the 80D, except they added maybe like some very cool autofocus, but you know, who cares about that? There is no future-proofing filmmaking features. So anyways, it was sort of like comparing apples to apples before I had to hand down the camera to my family members who desperately needed a DSLR to take pictures. Someone's picking on laundry. And so without further ado, here are the sample footages. Enjoy! So starting things off, we have the old Canon 600D. Now looking around, there seems to be a sort of weird purple/pink hue to the whole image. If we zoom into the roof tiles off in the distance, you can see that chromatic aberration is having a hell of a day, and the ability of this camera to resolve details in faraway objects is non-existent to say the least, and the dynamic range is being pushed to its very limits, with the sky being completely clipped out. Let's switch over now to the Canon 80D. As expected, the trees and foliage, they have a little more detail to them, and that they are not just being blurred out. Very unnoticeably is that on the 80D, the sky has not been completely clipped out. You can still see some hints of blue in there. And it should be noted that with my Canon 80D, I have CineStyle installed, so when I apply that picture profile, I can retain even more highlights and lowlights. So there's the added benefit of that. Looking towards the unsuspecting roof tiles once more, little to no chromatic aberrations or purple hazing going on, and the ability for the camera to resolve fine details and faraway objects is slightly better. Just slightly. Now we should switch locations. In this location, I placed a random shoe that I found onto the back of the car. I chose the shoe because of the netting. Here you can see the details or lack thereof on the 600D and on the 80D. I could put a letterbox onto it. Now my experience with Canon cameras is that when the object is close, the amount of detail retained is phenomenal. It's just faraway objects that look blurry and muddy. There was a time that I thought 1080p videos looked like real life, but with 4K being more mainstream now, I look back at 1080p footages and it looks like they are out of focus because they're so blurry. That being said, however, both the 600D and the Canon 80D, they look pretty much identical. Being that 1080p is still the maximum resolution, it just means that the 600D is not that far behind. So conclusion, what do I think? Obviously with the 600D, there's a lot of chromatic aberrations going on, and when you zoom in, it cannot resolve the tiny details. The Canon 80D can do it just a little bit better, but not by a whole lot. Canon 80D makes up for it with all the other features like superior autofocus, live autofocus. When you pair that with an STM lens, then it's like a human hand cranking the focus ring. It is dead silent. And other features, yeah, there's really not many advantages, is there? Look, the thing is, it matters not what the camera is, but what the person is behind it. If you give a professional person a very dirt cheap camera, they will produce amazing photographs or videos with it. Always comes down to the DOP. But still, am I disappointed that Canon has made, well, let's be blunt, pretty much no progress between the 600D and the 80D? Okay, pause. Okay, so after I made that statement, I went off on a 10-minute rant about Canon's archaic business practices. You know, them being very anti-prosumer and all that fun shit that I've sort of alluded to in my past videos. But here, I just let it all out. I think I just lost it, and then off I went for 10 plus minutes, which I edited down to, let's say, 5 minutes. Actually, let me check. Okay, make that 6 minutes. And I got off topic so much that I've decided to make that a separate video. So please go check it out on this title card here, or I think by the end screen I will link it
to that video as well. In saying that, I hope you enjoyed this video. So anyways, thanks for watching, and keep on procrastinating by jumping over to the next video. So see ya on the other side.